You know, sometimes it costs $0 to just shut the fuck up and keep scrolling. Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all, and welcome back to another episode of the Redefining Wellness podcast. Of course, it's your girl Neek, and I hope that you are feeling wonderful, awesome, and amazing. And all the things that makes you you. Welcome back to the podcast that helps you to redefine the way that you view wellness, one episode at a time, so that you can be healthy, unapologetically, and authentically, and take up as much space on this earth as you want to. Guys, say hello to my co host, my nephew. This is Wiz. He's probably going to show up a lot during this episode, especially if you're watching it on YouTube. But welcome, Wiz, to the show. Annie Hoozles, y'all. It is so disrespectful the way that I have not been podcasting, creating content, all of the things over this last month. I've been living, I've been learning, I've been laughing, I've been outside. The weather has been really good in DC. So I've been outside trying to get it how I live. Wizard Kelly, please, thank you, baby. Thank you so much, doll babes. Thank you. But I've been outside and I've been living and I've been doing the things, but so many things has happened over the last month. I've been getting trolled on the internet really, really badly because I said something that has a lot of truth behind it. I'm out here, y'all. I'm out here. I'm out here. And people seem to not like that. But any hoozles, before we get into this week's episode, if you're watching here on YouTube, do not forget to subscribe, hype, like, share with a friend. If you're listening the old fashioned way, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, follow, do all of the things on your favorite podcast streaming network. Shout out to all of our new friends that are here and to our friends that have been here before. You know the vibes. Hola, ¿cómo estás? And let's get into this week's episode. So, y'all know that we love to start out this show with Song of the Week. So, it's really turned into Song of the Month since I haven't been with y'all in the last month, but I've been listening to a whole lot of music. A lot of albums have dropped. A lot of people have announced that they're going on tour. But I will say the most constant thing that I have been listening to, or at least the most constant artist, I've been getting into Monaleo, Don Leo, Big Leo, if you know who that is. She is a rapper from El Paso, Texas. I believe she probably grew up in Houston, but I have really fallen into the vibe of her music, like her features, all of the things. And it really has been giving me the energy that I need to go into the summertime as a single gal. But y'all know I'm a lover girl. And so sometimes I need to listen to really hardcore shit in order to kind of tame the lover girl down. You know what I'm saying? But I've really been listening to Mona Leo a lot. And I got into her from my sister-in-law. Shout out my sister-in-law. Shout out to my sister-in-law for putting me on. It's really been a vibe. It's really been a vibe. I haven't listened to anything new as of yet. I know Ken the Man is dropping a new project on May the 1st. If you listen to the show, you know I really enjoy listening to Ken the Man. And I've also kind of fallen down the rabbit hole of just listening to like a lot of people's curated playlists, not just on YouTube, but like on Spotify, on Apple Music, all of that. But I really, really have been vibing with Monaleo Leo stuff. It reminds me of Megan Thee Stallion when she first kind of came out. It gives me Tina Snow vibes. It gives me naturally type of vibes. So I've really been digging into it. Um, that's honestly the biggest piece of music that I've been listening to, y'all. But as we slide into our next segment, what's Neek watching, or what has Neek been watching? So, the last episode of this podcast, I talked to you about Paradise. Baby, the way that Paradise ended. Okay. I think the last episode, I might have mentioned that I watched episode 7, season 1. That is still the best episode of the series, episode 7, season 1. And I've really enjoyed it. If you have not gotten into Paradise, please get into it. There are so many twists and turns. Sterling K. Brown does such an amazing job. Shout out to Ryan Michelle Buffet because she makes a little appearance into the show as well. And I've also started listening to the Paradise Rewatch podcast where they kind of break down little nuances with the episodes. Y'all know I love a rewatch podcast because I have my own thoughts and opinions about episodes and shows and things like that. So I love to listen to the actual actor and the producer and the creator say, this was really the meaning behind this. This is why we put this in here like this. So it's been a really great experience. Fuck that post office man. Fuck the mailman. Man, it blew me so much. What other little things can I throw out there that y'all will understand? Jane, wild, wild. And I do also enjoyed that this is a Dan Fogelman show. And like I mentioned in the last episode, if you're not familiar with Dan Fogelman, he's also the creator of This Is Us. So a lot of the things, a lot of the twists and the turns, a lot of the the surprises, it was very much in This Was Us fashion. But there was something very specific that I felt was very connected to This Is Us, not like a direct connection, like they're all in the same universe, but when I don't wanna give it away, I don't like to do spoilers, but spoiler alert, if you have not watched season 2, go ahead and skip past this part. When Sinatra sacrificed herself, I loved the montage that they gave us of it actually being paradise, and they were like the thingies, like the, because y'all know they're in a bunker, so, like, the ceiling started falling, but there was this illusion that she had. I don't know if she had it or how they did it, but her son came and grabbed her hand, and they walked away together. And I thought that that was very beautifully done. It reminded me of in This Is Us when Rebecca died. And sorry, spoiler alert again, y'all. But when Rebecca died, it was the train montage of, you know, her having her final memories and listening to her family members speak to her because, she had a form of dementia or Alzheimer's, I believe. And so she was like, losing her memory, all of those things. But it was the train should have been the last episode of This Is Us, in my opinion. But the way that they did Sinatra's death in paradise, it was so beautifully done. It was so well done. It really made me think about This Is Us. But I'm really intrigued to see what they do for season 3. I feel like they're probably going to end the show after season 3. I don't really see what else they could do after this. If you've been watching the show, you'll probably agree with me because now the bunker is gone. So what's paradise? And I don't want them to go through seasons and seasons and seasons of them recreating civilization. Nobody wants that. I don't want that. I hope they don't do that. But Paradise was the show that had me like, "Ah, man." I've also been watching a lot of documentaries. I recently watched a really good Jerry West documentary called The Logo. If you're not familiar with who Jerry West is, Jerry West was one of the, I don't wanna say one of the original NBA players, but he was Mr. Lakers from the 1960s until about the mid-1970s. He is the logo design for the NBA, and that logo design, I believe it came out in the late 60s, early 70s, and just him going through, like, his life and all of the great general manager work that he's done from working with the Lakers to the Warriors to the Clippers and the dynasties that he's created and the innovation that he started within the NBA. I thought it was really dope, and also see, like, Michael Jordan and Shaq and, Kawhi Leonard didn't talk on it, but, like, Draymond Green and Klay Thompson. Of course, when I saw Klay Thompson, I said, "Oh, that's Megan's boyfriend." But lots of other great documentaries for me to check out. Of course, I finished Love Is Blind during my little hiatus from podcasting. Complete bullshit, in my opinion. Love Is Blind was very ridiculous, the way that that ended. I don't even want to go and dig deep into it. Um, I'm mad that I was not honest with myself about the thoughts with what's that boy's name? Christine and the guy with the dreads. I already forgot his name, and it's okay because nobody likes him anymore. Just been getting into a lot of shows. Of course, I've been watching some of my favorite comfort shows. I started watching Different World again. I started watching Living Single again. I started watching season 3 of Jersey Shore again. And when I get into that space, that means that I'm feeling not so great in life. I'm feeling tired. I'm feeling, did you want something? Okay. He must have said I was talking too much in his ear or I wasn't petting him enough. All right, sir. But usually when I go back to watching, like, my comfort shows, that's how I know that I'm not in the best headspace. So, sometimes I gotta take a step back and just redirect and just woosah it up a bit. But as always, if you have music or if you have a show that I need to check out, that I should listen to, shows that I should be watching, maybe movies that I should be watching, go ahead and send me a DM or you can email me, Redefining Wellness Pod. Now, our next segment, and so my therapist said, this week it's actually going to be, and so my girlfriend said, I have been having therapy, but in this last month, my girlfriends, I don't want to say they've been dragging me by my front teeth, but they've been dragging me by my front teeth and have been making me realize some of the things and places and spaces where I have work to do. Okay. So I'm dating, as we talk about on the show. And when you're dating, you talk to your girlfriends about the different people that you're dating and, all of the things. So one of my girlfriends, we were having a conversation about one of the guys that she's dating, and he is the same zodiac sign as me. And so she said something and she was like, "Ugh, why does he do this?" And I said, "I can empathize with why he does it because I'm the same zodiac sign." And she was like, "Oh, why do y'all do that?" She was like, "That's very manipulative." Is it? She said, "Yes, bitch, it is." And the thing is, if I'm being absolutely honest, because this is a podcast, we're honest about the things, right? So the thing at hand was, and I do this with my friends too. So she would be in conversation with this person, and he would then get upset because maybe she didn't respond as quickly. Maybe she didn't respond in a particular type of tone or particular energy. And it would make him feel like, well, what's wrong with you? Why you not? Da, 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 da. And then because of the energy that he was receiving, he would like pull back. Right. And I said, yeah, I do that all the time. And she was like, that's not always good. Because she was like, "It's very self-centered." And I said, "I know. I realized that it was self-centered." And she was like, "Yeah, that's not really okay." And so she was like, "Can you break down for me why you do that?" And I say, I don't know what could be going on in your day. You could have just gotten an argument with your parent. You could have had a bad meeting with your boss. You could have something. But in my brain, if you do not respond or give me the same energy that I am giving out, I immediately feel like I did something to cause you to not give me the same energy, or maybe your feelings towards me have drastically changed over the last 15 minutes. And then I start to create scenarios in my head about the things that you're possibly thinking about me, even though you probably are not thinking those things, right? I like create complete scenarios. My bestest girlfriend, my sister bestie, used to tell me when we were kids, she was like, you just make up anything in your head and you run with it. Sometimes I do, right? And so I'm talking through this with my homegirl, and she's like, "What?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "I do it with y'all too, with my homegirls." And I told my other homegirl the same thing, and she was like, "It's me, don't piss me off. Don't piss me off." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "This is just how I think." And she was like, "That's very self-centered." And I said, I hear y'all. One of the things that I will never forget that my ex-boyfriend said about me was he said, "You think the sun shines, rises, and sets only on you sometimes." And at the time, I didn't really know what to say to that. And I was like, damn, maybe I do. And then I started talking to another guy. He kind of alluded to the same thing. He was like, you're really selfish. You want everything on your time. You want everything when you want it. And I was like, damn, I need to talk about this in therapy. And so then I ended up talking about it in therapy. And one of the things that I struggle with, if you're an eldest daughter like me, I struggle with people pleasing. And I remember telling y'all on the show, and I've talked about this on social media, learning that people pleasing is actually a defense mechanism or can be used as a manipulation tactic or can be used in a space of survival mode. You're trying to control a situation so that it can have the most favorable outcome for you. Now, for me growing up, I would do the things that people wanted me to do. I would perform a particular type of way in the hopes that I would receive love, admiration, validation, all of the things. I would insert myself into people's lives or whatever in hopes to again receive love, validation, admiration, all of the things. So I would overextend myself to, like, prove that I'm worthy of, receiving your love, admiration, validation, all the things. And so with me talking to my homegirl and realizing that I still have work to do. And sometimes that's a hard pill to swallow, that you still have work to do. You know what I'm saying? And so now, I like to sit and really self reflect and really think about like how I am showing up for people. And I really take a step back and I say, am I showing up for this person out of genuineness? Or am I showing up because I truly want to receive something from them? And so, like, I had an incident where a friend, was complaining about something, and in my brain, I was like, "Oh, I have the resources to help them, like, I can help." But before I could give the resource, I really had to sit with myself and say, "Are you okay with helping this person and probably not receiving anything in return?" Or are you okay with helping this person and it may not be the outcome that you wanted it to be? Right. So I have to really sit back with myself and really have those conversations. And it's all because my homegirls, they kept me in check. And, they'll tell me, like, Neek, that's not the way to look at that. Or Neek, maybe you should talk to your therapist a little bit more about that. Or Neek, can you go a little bit deeper as to why you have these thoughts sometimes? And I'm not saying that my girlfriends are a replacement for therapy or that your girlfriends or your male friends should be a replacement for therapy, but it does help to talk to your friends candidly and openly and to be able to receive criticism. If they tell you, "Hey man, I think you should work on this." It's okay, work on it. Don't feel offended because they're really trying to tell you something about yourself. Now, I will say though for me, um, I don't do well with tough love. I'm not, and I think for me, it's because my family gave me tough love. I don't like that shit. I don't like it. I am a soft creature. You have to give it to me soft. You have to give it to me soft. I hear you better if you're soft. For me, you attract me better with honey than you do with venom. That is something that I know about myself. Now, sometimes does my therapist give me tough love, but it's still soft? Absolutely. My homegirls have learned how to do that for me too. But the greatest thing that I can say about having this moment of revelation with my girlfriends is that I was able to accept that criticism. I was able to accept that correction. And that can be very hard, especially when you be like, girl, you just as bad as me sometime, or girl, it's easy to point the finger or to if somebody's trying to tell you something about you and then you be like, oh, but bitch, I didn't you? It's easy to do that, right? What is harder to do is to just sometimes we need to just shut the fuck up and listen, and that's okay. And that's one of the things that my girlfriends have taught me in this last month is that sometimes you need to listen to what other people are trying to tell you or they're trying to protect you from or even trying to protect you from yourself. Like literally my homegirl was trying to protect me from myself so that I don't self-sabotage something. You know what I'm saying? And even in this space of dating, it's easy to sabotage something, especially if you have come from the dating history that I've had. It's easy to self-sabotage. It's easy to let your trauma take over and just run with the situation and you create a scenario that you have no evidence, you have no nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's very easy to do that. And just shout out to my girlfriends for reminding me, like, hey man, chill out. It's not that deep. Or, just relax, relax, relax. So this week, I want to try something different with y'all. If you have a great girlfriend story or a great guy friend story, share it. Send it to me. redefiningwellnesspod@gmail. All right, y'all. So let's get into the true nitties and gritties of this week's episode. But before we do that, don't sleep on Dollar Tree. I got this very cute mug. It says, all you need is love and coffee. $1.25. $1.25. Get you. The only thing I don't like is that it's a left-handed mug. Sometimes I hit it with the left hand. Most of the time, I'm hitting it with the right hand, so I'm looking at it, what it says, but y'all can't. So, over the last couple of weeks, I have been getting horrendously trolled on social media. And one of my homeboys said, shout out to DJ Whitebread. He said, this how you know you doing something good or you on top because the haters start coming out and people start showing their ass. So if you follow me on social media, don't forget all social media handles at heyniquev. I made a reel. Actually, I made it a TikTok first. Shout out to TikTok for actually having good safeguards against like super duper trolls. Instagram needs to do better. But I made it a reel, and my reel basically said, hey girls, girly pops, stop using your boyfriend slash husband as your personal trainer because they are not a certified personal trainer. And I did this reel because I go to the gym a lot. Okay. I'm in the gym, I'm lifting, and also I'm kind of people watching at the same time. I have my master's in exercise science. I've had my personal training certification for 12 years. I'm a certified speed coach. I'm a fitness instructor. I'm a group, like all of the things, right? Fitness, 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 fitness. If anybody knows what form looks like, I would think it's me. So I'm in the gym and sometimes I see bad form, especially when it's a girly by herself. I may go up to her and say, hey, sweetheart, like, I know you're probably trying to work these muscles, but do you mind if I show you how to do the form properly so that you don't hurt your back, you don't pull something, you don't, whatever. Sometimes the girls take me up on that offer and they accept it. Sometimes they tell me to fuck off. That's cool. In a very polite way, they tell me to fuck off. But most of the time, they let me help them. So I was in the gym on numerous occasions, but this particular day, I just could not help but notice this. There was a girl that I could tell was a lot younger than me. She was in the gym with her significant other, and this man had her lifting so heavy. She couldn't even do the proper range of motion for the exercise. And then on top of that, I could tell immediately that her core was not engaged. Okay. And so I'm watching this, and the guy, he's a buff guy. Let me take it back. He wasn't that, but he looked in shape. Right. And I'm just looking at this and I'm just like, I really want the girls to just get a personal trainer or talk to the fitness professional that's on staff at the gym and actually get your form checked. Right. And I also stated that just because your significant other played a D1, D2, or D3 sport, it does not make him qualified to be your personal trainer. So I also want to preface. I want to, before I dig a little bit deeper, some of the greatest people that I've ever met played D3 sports. Shout out to the Wolverines, Wesley College Wolverines, that is. And I am not taking away from the hard work that goes into being a college athlete, not taking that away. But the reason why I stated that just because they are a D1, D2, D3 athlete, they are not a certified personal trainer is because most of the time, and you are, especially if you're a football player, basketball player, whatever, you're not taking a personal training test. You are learning how to lift for your own body. You're learning form for your own body. You're learning conditioning for your own body. You are not learning form, weight recommendations, progressive overloads, any of those things, max strength. You're not learning those things for a general population, let alone a specialized population. You're not learning those things. I do not think Nick Saban had those boys at Alabama learning how to do proper deadlift form for women. They're not. He's not. They're not taking the time for that, right? Neither of the Harborough brothers. They're not taking the time for that because that's not their job. If you're going to a Alabama, a Florida, a Miami, whatever, a Merlin, you are not in that weight room and they're saying, "All right, guys, let's go over proper form. Let's bring some ladies in here. Let's bring some people in here that have scoliosis. Let's bring people," you know what I'm saying? They're not doing that. And that's why I said that, right? Because when you get a personal training, and you know what? You know what? Let me do a little backtrack because it is true. Some people just go get the certification and they don't actually retain the information. I get that. But for me, as an exercise science, someone with a master's degree in exercise science who considered getting their PhD, okay, we have extensive labs where we are going over form. We're going over all of the muscle groups that go into you just lifting your hand from here to here. Okay. I have done a 70-page movement analysis on the tennis serve. Shout out to Michael Porter for letting me use him for that project. Like, we go over these things extensively. So, of course, if I'm in the gym and I see some crazy shit, I'm going to either call it out or I'm going to just shake my head, right? And so I made the post, and baby, the people were in an uproar. Not even the people, the men's were in an uproar. What makes you qualify? And you're stupid. What do you mean a D1 athlete isn't going to know what proper form looks like? They're not. They're not. They're not. On someone that has a S-curve back, on someone that maybe has a damaged MCL, on someone that just happens to have big tits, the form is going to look different. And you have to be able to adjust with each and every individual. The form is going to change. The way that you load weight on somebody is different. And you have to be able to see with your personal trainer eye, which a lot of these fuckers don't have, is the very small inclination that the weight might be too heavy. You have to know how to progressively overload somebody so that they can actually achieve either hypertrophy or maximal strength or a larger power output. You have to learn these things. And just me putting that out there on the internet, like, men were telling people, "Oh, yeah, don't look like this girl," or, "If you listen to her, you'll look like her," or whatever. One guy talked about my cockeye, and I mean, that ain't never stopped me from getting no niggas before. Okay. Me having a cockeye didn't stop me from getting my master's degree. Me having a cockeye has not stopped me from being in this field for 15 years. And that's coming up on May the 7th. I've been in this industry. Okay. So it's interesting to me how, because I'm a plus size girl, proudly plus size, that it's such an uproar for me to mention something about health and fitness. And it's literally because I'm plus size. Granted, I have seen the girls that were, smaller than me. They make mention about certain things and the girls be eating them up. Even when I'll never forget when I had lost, this was maybe like 2018, 2019. I lost a significant amount of weight. I probably lost like 50 pounds. And I remember Keisha Kayor had came out with like what's the waist trainer. And again, if you've been following me for the umpteenth amount of years that people have been following me, I am very much against the waist trainer. I just, huh? What's the waist trainer going to do if you don't fix your diet, if you don't just train your core, if you don't, actually exercise? You know what I'm saying? And so I will never forget the girls was eating me up because I said that waist trainers don't fully do what y'all think it's supposed to do. And people got really upset with me. I don't really see people wearing waist trainers anymore like that though. Do y'all? I don't. Maybe I need to look a little harder. But it's just interesting to me how you can go on the internet and make a statement, and a very educated statement, in my opinion. Now, were the girls probably ruffled up because I said something about their husbands and their boyfriends? Probably, you know, but I still don't think that I didn't call anybody out their name. I didn't say anything. But the amount of men that came on my post and either referred to my body, referred to my eyes, or tried to insinuate that I don't have the proper education to be making such a statement. I just think that the internet is not a real place. It's not a real place. And of course, I'm a sensitive girl. Like I said earlier, it did hurt my feelings a little bit because it was just like, y'all don't know me. Who are y'all to say these things about me? Or who are y'all to insinuate that I'm any less than just because I have a little bit more adipose tissue on me than the average bear? And of course, I've had experiences where people have said things to my face and I've gladly clapped back at them. I've had instances where members have written on my review about my weight, but you can't hang in my classes. You know what I'm saying? I've experienced all of the things, but I think experiencing this level of like social media trolling is crazy. And it's again, it's not the first time. Even not even that Keisha Kayor moment, but I remember one time I think I was posting something to be very positive about my body as I went through the hardest body positive or trying to be positive about my body. The hardest was when I had lost the weight and we were still in the midst of COVID. I'd gotten down to my smallest size. I got down to like 192. Mm, Of course, the world still said I needed to lose 50 more pounds. And I had posted something and this guy like said something really mean about my body. And then I had another incident, where I said something. I think I had just came back from Mexico, and y'all know that's when my weight was up and down real bad. Stress, honey. And a guy said something about my body. What? And it costs $0 to shut the fuck up and scroll. It costs $0 because, like my homegirls said, they wouldn't say it to your face. Most of them wouldn't. Most of them would not say it to my face. And I just think it was just very vile, very icky, very disgusting to some of the comments that I saw people, a lot of these men, right? Um, I need more people to go outside and touch grass. I need more people to educate themselves about what health and fitness really looks like. I need people to understand that fit does not always have a particular body type. Just because someone is small, it does not mean they are fit. Okay. We have fitness tests for a reason that a lot of people are not familiar with or even understand the structure of a fitness test. They don't know the mechanics and the methodology and the math and the science that is behind doing a fitness test. I just think that it's really interesting. And I get very offended because of the hours of laboratory work that I've done, of the hours of research that I've done, the hours of thesis that I've done, the hours of book work, the hours of certification work that I've done. And it's just like, wow, some people are really dense and or really just stuck in the societal structure of fitness that you would come onto my social media platform and say some of the egregious things that were said about me. A man on his worst day has never said the things about me that were said under my social media post. And I have had some pretty, no, I'll take that back. I've never had a man in all of my days look me in my face and say things similar to what was said about me on social media. I just think that that was really interesting. Um, but guess what? We keep on moving. We keep on trucking. We're back. Okay. Y'all are never going to see the last bit of me. We're going to continue to make the content. We're going to continue to push the envelope. We're going to continue to advocate for healthy bodies, not just skinny bodies. We're going to continue to advocate for bodies that can go from laying on the ground to standing straight up with ease. We're going to advocate for bodies that have adequate range of motion. We're going to advocate for bodies adequate. You're just going to do the things, man. We're going to do the things. And I just think that It's such a shame of the lack of education that so many people have, and it's not people's fault, but I do think it is society's fault for the way that they have illustrated, again, what health and fitness looks like. I think it's really wrong, and again, it's not to say that I'm sitting here saying that, "Oh, you shouldn't wanna lose weight." Do what works best for you, baby. My thing has just always been, if the hidden agenda is a little bit deeper within you of like, you don't feel like you'll have validation in this world unless you look a particular type of way. And when you take that into a space of doing it by any means necessary, I think that is where I have to advocate for others. I have to speak up for others. And I have to show that it can look different from this. It doesn't have to look the way that they say that it's supposed to look. That's that's just my opinion. But shout out to all the people that wrote on that social media post and was dogging those dudes out. Um, the reads, y'all was reading them. You hear me? Love that for me. I love that I don't always have to do the dirty work. Not saying I don't want to do the dirty work, but the fact that so many people are willing to drag others for me, I love that for my life. Because again, I'm soft. I'm a soft individual. I'm a pansy. And a pansy is a delicate flower. I'm delicate. So, that's why everybody else handled that situation for me. I did a little bit too, but y'all handled that situation for me, and I love that for me. So I think I'm gonna wrap up this week's episode here. I felt like this was a pretty good low-key catch-up episode. Actually, no, before I wrap up, some non-scale victories. Your girl is doing something with increasing my protein, my bone broth every day. I've been eating boring ass meals, which kind of sucks, but we make it work, babe. Brown rice, chicken, and a vegetable. Brown rice, beef, and a vegetable. Something. But we're hitting our protein. We're hitting our watermarks. We're increased our fiber. We're doing the damn thing. Just wanted to throw that out there. I'll dig a little bit deeper next week into like what I'm actually eating and my structure these days and how my workouts have been going because I know there's a few people that do have questions. But this week just wasn't the week for that. But as always, y'all, thank you so much for listening to the show. Please do not forget to like, rate, review, subscribe, hype, share with a friend, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend that you're watching and you're listening to the Redefining Wellness podcast. Thank y'all so much once again for listening. Thank you for watching. And thank you for being uniquely fit. See ya.